Hi, and welcome back to my channel, The Tobacco Room. I'm starting a new video series on the different sorts of tobacco that I've grown here on the farm in Denmark and discussing the different differences between sorts. The topic of today's video will be Oriental tobacco, mainly Samsoun Turkish tobacco. Now, Samsoun is, as I said, an Oriental tobacco originally grown in the Black Sea region around Turkey. And if you try and grow these warm weather Oriental varieties in a cold weather environment like Denmark, what you end up with is a different sort of phenotype. The leaves tend to be larger, darker, and stronger in nicotine with less of the aromatic oils that make them special. So growing an Oriental variety here in Denmark has been a challenge. But there are different things you can do to try and approximate how the Oriental variety would be grown in its native region.
Here you can see a row of my Samsoun tobacco. It's already in flower and there's a lot of side branching. Now in one of my previous videos I used this tobacco sort as an example of when to top and prune, but I must apologize because that was a bad example. Oriental varieties of tobacco should not really be topped or pruned if you want them to put more energy into making smaller and more leaves. So this year I'm trying something new, and I'm going to treat this tobacco exactly as it is treated in the Black Sea region of Turkey, without topping it and without taking off the suckers. And if we get down in here, you can see that these plants are already having quite a bit of suckers and side shoots coming off of them, and their leaves are quite small compared to other varieties of tobacco. However, among the Oriental varieties of tobacco, Samsoun tends to have the largest of the leaves. Samsoun tobacco grown in the Black Sea region of Turkey has very rocky, thin, nutrient-poor soils. And here in Denmark, we tend to have very rich clay soils, but I made sure to move my plants to the end of the garden where it was more sandy and where there was less clay to approximate what is found in the Black Sea region. Because Samsoun tobacco is grown where it's so incredibly hot and dry, I don't water it quite as much as I water the other varieties. Of course, it needs some water in order to grow well, but if it is water stressed a little bit, then it tends to create more of those aromatic oils, and that's really what I'm going for. A small, compact leaf, lots of leaves, and higher in aromatic oils to preserve that delicate aroma that comes with Oriental tobaccos. But unfortunately, no matter what you do, Denmark is just not the Black Sea. And anytime you grow an Oriental variety in a cooler, milder climate, you're going to get a slightly different phenotype than if it was grown in its original region. So just keep that in mind if you choose to grow this tobacco at home. Here you can see some racks I've made outside in full sunlight where I string the Samsoun tobacco leaves for sun curing. That is how you cure Oriental tobacco leaves. You just hang Samsoun tobacco leaves on strings and sun cure them that way. Samsoun tobacco is sun cured. Samsoun tobacco really likes hot, dry conditions for sun curing. And one of the problems we have here in Denmark is in the summertime, oftentimes it's not hot and dry. It gets kind of cool and rainy. And if that happens, I sometimes have to take the strings and move them into the greenhouse for a day or so until the sun comes out again. You do not want them to get wet. After I have sun cured the Samsoun tobacco, I let it stabilize and then vacuum pack it for aging. This has been aging for, a good 8 to 10 months here. And you can see how beautiful reddish brown the leaves are, almost a reddish golden brown. And this tobacco is excellent for making pipe tobacco that can be blended in. I wouldn't say that Samsoun Tobacco makes an exceptional pipe tobacco on its own, but it could be mixed in other pipe tobacco blends. And of course, it's famous for being used in cigarettes. The smaller, finer leaves I use for cigarettes, and some of the larger, darker leaves I shred for pipe tobacco. And here's a good example of the same leaf shredded for pipe tobacco. I'll mix this in with some of my pipe tobacco blends. Gives it kind of a spicy, aromatic edge and a very good blending component in many different things.
Another thing you can do in order to get the leaves to be a little smaller is plant the plants closer together. Another interesting thing to note about Oriental tobacco is that it should never be fermented. Fermenting Oriental tobaccos destroys the delicate aromatics present in the leaf, which you really want to preserve. Samsoun has a magnificent floral aroma after it's been aged for some time. So that's my video on Samsoun Oriental Tobacco. I hope you got something out of this video. Give us a like, a thumbs up, and a share. There's links in the description to my Facebook page, Dance Tobacco, and also links to how you can build your own fermentation barrel for those of you who wish to ferment your own tobacco at home. Thank you, and I'll see you in the next video.